Welcome to the Emerge podcast, where Ronnie Doss shares insights regarding life, leadership, and personal development. For more of our resources, visit ronniedoss.com. Now, let's join the podcast.
Hey guys, it's Ronnie Doss. Welcome to the Emerge podcast. Today, we're going to talk about navigating some of the challenges that we're facing. I mean, obviously, everybody's talking about some of the issues that have presented themselves here as we try to go on our day-to-day life, but many people are on lockdown and asked to be home. We're operating from a place of social distancing and all of that. So what I want to talk about is what we can do in the midst of all of this to make sure that when we come out of it, and we are going to come out of it, we're all going to come out of this. We've faced many things like this before that have been challenging, but we've made it through. And we're going to make it through this time. And so if you get that and you totally wrap your head around that when we come out of this, we are going to be better than when we went in. Maybe a little older, maybe a little bit wiser. We've got a little bit different perspective, maybe a little more grateful. We are coming through it. And so in that, I want to talk to you about some of the things I think we can do as we move through where we are right now at the end of March 2020. I know many people were so excited about 2020 to get here, and then it got here, and it's kind of like hit us from out of the blue left field, and some things that we didn't expect, but we feel blindsided. But you know what? That doesn't give us permission to just quit. I mean, you can stop if you want to, you can quit, but then what? Right? It's a question I've asked many teams before. If you quit, then what? What are you going to do? Just sit around and be unhappy? You're going to sit around judging yourself and thinking that you were victimized and the world did something to you? That's not how we get to operate as leaders. And so if you're listening to this, I know that you consider yourself a leader in your home, with your team, with your family. This is important. And I think we need to look at whether or not we're operating from a place of entitled or a place of indebted. You know, when we're entitled, we think that we just get to show up and we get to have things handed to us the way that they're supposed to be handed to us. And anytime we use the word supposed to or should, it's that we're in resistance to what is. And what is what's there. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't work to change it, but what we have in front of us is what is in front of us. And how we choose to navigate it's going to be on us. And so if we're entitled, a lot of times we think that just because we showed up, we expect there to be some conveniences and some comfort. And even if we've worked hard in the past, that we're entitled to success. And obviously that's not the case. Because there can be things that happen that we don't expect that can come literally from left field, blindside us, knock us off our center, and show us that the things that we thought we were certain of, that we're not really certain of anymore. And so we don't get to operate from this place of entitled. What we need to operate from is a place of indebted. And that we're indebted, knowing that the day that was given to us, which is today, it was a gift. And so when someone gives us a gift, if the universe has given us the day that the universe God created, I believe that we get to operate from this place of enjoying the day or creating with the day as much as we choose to, then I think we need to see that we're indebted. We owe something back to God for the gift that we've been given called today. And every single day that we get up, I think there's a way that we can view our actions and that we're indebted to give the best of ourselves. Because if we don't, then we're always in receiving mode. We're taking. And if we continue to withdraw all the time and not make any deposit, no give back to what is our source, then if we don't give back, I think at some point we may find ourselves empty. And if we're empty, I think that's a really rough place to push from. And so we always want to be in a place of indebtedness, that I want to give back my life as a service to other people. And in doing that, as I give more love and compassion and share more joy and encouragement, I get to experience those things. If I'm speaking encouragement to other people, I hear the encouragement. If I'm speaking negatively to other people, I hear the negativity. Either way, I'm perceiving what's being said. The words that are around me create a cocoon, and that cocoon is the thing that I tend to transform in, like the caterpillar to the butterfly. Like you weave this cocoon with your words and your energy and your focus. And if you really become intentional about that and you think about what you're creating and what you want to transform into, I believe that you're better equipped then, that you have better tools, or at least you have the strength to use the tools that you have to really design more of a better future. And sometimes I think we don't do that. I think that we believe we're just entitled to showing up and that things are going to be given to us. And though we may have lived in a time in the last decade where things were really good and we were living really high on the horse and we thought we were doing it right. Well, then one thing shows up for us and it throws that off, and we realize that that perception and that perspective may not be accurate moving forward. And so what adjustments do we need to make? Well, the first one I think we make is to go from this entitled mindset into more of an indebted one, to where I feel that I owe something to give back to the planet, to give back to humanity. And in doing so, it strengthens me, right? It's like lifting weights. You go to the gym, you pick the weights up, you lift, you get stronger. Yes, it's difficult, but you wind up being much healthier than if you'd never gone to the gym, never exercised, never worked out in the first place. And so this lifting is really, I believe, the lifting of what we'd say is our perspective. It's lifting our eyes, lifting our chin to look out and say, hey, there's a bigger picture here, and I'm indebted to this. The day that I've been given was a gift, and so I'm going to use it and use it well. I think that simple shift, if you can think of those two words, entitled and indebted, am I operating from a place of entitlement right now that I think I'm owed something, or am I going to choose to come from a place of being indebted? And when I think of being indebted, it doesn't mean that I'm in debt, that I owe, that I'm like there's something heavy weighing me down. I think, no, being more indebted is that I owe back to people that have helped me. I'm indebted to be the best. I feel indebted to mentors that I've had that have spoken into my life and have trained me and helped me to do what it is that I do. I feel indebted to my parents to be someone who raises a good family as best I can. I feel that I'm indebted. That's not overpowering to me. That doesn't cause me to feel negative. It doesn't weigh me down. It actually is an opportunity. It provokes something in me. It fuels the flame within me of being better. And so that's what I want you to think about today. Are you operating from a place of being entitled versus being indebted? You know, I read a quote recently that said, there is always sunshine, but rain is required for growth. And often creativity requires thunderstorms. If you think about that, it's an interesting quote that there's always sunshine, but rain is required for growth, and creativity requires thunderstorms. And right now we could say that we're in the middle of a thunderstorm. Why? Well, there's lots of noise going on out there. There's lots of fear. There's lots of things happening. There's panic, and there's anxiety, and there's worry. There's a lot of noise. And you guys, if you've ever listened to my podcast before, I talk about how noise destroys. It destroys our focus. You know, noise, when you're focused on working on something and you're trying to write, you're trying to read, and then there's some crazy noise, maybe, and it's like a bump in the night, and you're like, what is that? It destroys your focus. It pulls you off. And there's so many things right now that are trying to pull our focus off of what it is that we're working on, which is growth and getting better. And so I just want you to recognize that, yes, the sun is always shining, but we need to grow as a people. And I think that what we're facing right now is a challenge that we will grow from. As we get to the other side, we will have grown. We will be smarter. We will be wiser. Hopefully we'll have greater appreciation for things, for gatherings, for people, for humanity. Hopefully we'll have a greater appreciation for that and not take things for granted. Hopefully we'll be kinder. Can you see that when people can get together again in a restaurant, in a Starbucks, and you're standing close to people, that you'll probably be kinder? You know, I know that walking out in my neighborhood, we're pulling the recycling bin out to the driveway. You know, we live in Scottsdale, Arizona, which it's a big area, right? And there's, you know, next to Phoenix is a huge city. And a lot of times, because there's so many cars, that people will pass by and they don't wave. You know, I grew up in the South, and it was like I lived in a small town, and when you passed somebody in the car, a lot of people would wave, just kind of wave at everybody. Everybody was so friendly that way. And I think, you know, being out here, I've noticed that it's a little busier, much more fast-paced, and a lot more people. People don't wave. But the other morning when I was pulling out the recycling bin, there were two cars that drove past my house, and both of them waved. They both waved, and I was like, oh, people are really looking for a bit of connection. They want to connect with people. And I think we missed that already. And I think that when we get through this and we come out on the other side, and we come out of this thunderstorm, when we get out of this rain that's happening right now, we will have grown. And we'll appreciate things better. I think the numbers that we have maybe lost with certain things as far as growth in a business, I think those numbers are going to spike. I think we're going to come back and we'll be stronger and better. I think that's possible. And I think it's up to us to do that. And so, again, we don't want to operate from the place of thinking we're owed something. We want to operate from this place of what I would say is indebtedness, or at least saying, hey, I want to create better. I'm not going to let this stop me. And one of the things that I've told many teams that I work with right now is like, look, if you've decided you're not going to quit, you're not going to stop, and that when we get through this, we're going to be better, then the question is, if you're going to do it and you're going to stick with it, then what are you bringing to it? Like if you're going to be in the marriage and you say, hey, the marriage isn't going to fall apart, then the question would be is what are you going to bring to the marriage? Like if you're going to stick it out and you're going to make it happen, what are you going to bring to it? Are you going to bring something good, some passion and excitement, compassion, love, joy, encouragement? You don't have to be perfect at that, but saying, hey, if I'm going to do this anyway, if I'm going to live X number of days in my life, what am I going to bring to those days? That's a fuel that we can use to power us and really create better things. That even as you go through pain and challenges, that you can get better. You know, all the trainings that I've done, participants in 11 different countries around the world, guys. I've talked about some pretty intense issues with people. I've had people share ideas. I've had them share their plans. I've had them share their pains with me. And, you know, I've heard many people say that they went through things and they would say, hey, I didn't enjoy it when I was going through it. I didn't love the pain, but it was the best thing that could have happened to me because I grew so much. And I've heard that many times. And so this is something to where we can grow. This is something that we can grow through. And as we do it, we leave some of the judgments of other people, the bitterness, the anger. I think it's crazy now how divisive people are. People are yelling at other people and they're angry and mad. And I just have never bought into that because it doesn't serve anything. You know, what you resist persists. What you put energy on tends to grow. And so if you put energy on something you don't like in somebody else, that's all you're going to see. It grows more and more. And then the next thing you know, you've got more and more of this challenge, more things to push on. And it's not until you stop resisting that thing starts to dissipate a bit. And so it doesn't mean you can't stand for things, but we don't want to be losing our mind, letting our emotions run us so much that we aren't being very creative and creating better for not only us, but for the people that we live with, the people in our community, people on our planet. I'm hoping that that's what we'll see as we move through this and we emerge. And then the last thing is in all of this, it's a quote that I heard recently where it says, desire minus discipline equals dysfunction. Desire minus discipline equals dysfunction. And where this seems to fit in with this conversation of entitled and indebted and knowing that there's rain and there's challenges is that you may have the desire to get better and the desire to get better as we walk through these challenges. You may have that. But if you lack the discipline to do what you need to do on the daily, then that can lead to dysfunction where you have these great ideas, these dreams of grandeur and success, but that leads to a dysfunction where you become almost delusional to where you're dreaming of something that you're not willing to work for. You think something's going to happen. And, you know, I think we want to be very aware. I know that I want to be aware in my life that if there's something I would say I desire, that I've got to develop a discipline for it, right? It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just show up. Now, some things can show up, but if they show up and I'm not prepared for it and I lose it, isn't that worse than ever even having it? You know, I've heard it said you're not blessed by what you get, you're blessed by what you can keep. And if you want to keep the things that you desire, you've got to develop some discipline for it. And so my request, and we'll be done here on this podcast, I don't want it to go too long, but my request would be that through all of this, can you look at your day and structure it in a way to where you can get something done that's going to lead you more towards what you desire. Yes, you've got to do what you've got to do until you can do what you want to do, but in some senses, are you developing any discipline that's going to lead to that desire? Anything at all? How much time will you give to it? Maybe you don't have 2 hours a day to give to some goal that you have, but you can give 30 minutes. If you can't give 30 minutes, maybe give 15. You find 15, and you invest that into where it is that you're going. Today we were looking at some investment accounts and some stocks and things to invest money into. And that's a little different approach for us. Normally, for me, when I think of investing, we invest back into our business and what we do. But now it's like looking at how we can broaden the scope and our horizons just a bit and saying, hey, you know, maybe you need to learn a little more about this type of investing because that could benefit you, especially now at this time. And just investing a little bit of time and some mental energy into something else, it's like you break an old pattern and a whole new world starts to emerge. And whether that's investing money or investing your physical energy into something, a new exercise routine, or sitting down and writing a book, or sitting down and whatever it is that you may want to do. I don't know what that is, but you know, if there's something that you've been putting off and something that you really do desire to do, I would say now is as good a time as any to develop a discipline and hold yourself accountable. Just a little bit of time each day. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. You don't want to say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to do 3 hours of this. You know, don't do that. Start it out in some bite-sized chunks, some things that you can handle, some benchmarks that you can move across. And as you do them, that it will help you to build up some momentum to where you can wind up in a place where, as we get through this thunderstorm that we're in, as we get through some of this rain, that we have grown as individuals and we're at a better place to do more and to serve this planet better, that I don't feel that we're entitled to have. I think we're indebted to. I think each day is a gift and it was given to us, and I think we're indebted back to our Creator to be the best that we can be. Whatever that looks like for you, I think in some ways we're indebted, and it's up to us to make it happen. Nobody's going to do it for us. And so I appreciate you all. Thanks for listening today, taking a few minutes to sow into your mind, to keep you on the path, to keep you centered. If you need anything from us, you can email my office, info@dostteam.com. info@dostteam.com. You also go to ronniedoss.com. We got lots of video resources there. We're rebranding our website. We got a lot of cool marketing things that are happening. So thank you guys for being on the journey with us. If you liked this, please share it with someone else. That helps us. Our numbers are continuing to go up, and we're excited about that. And so I appreciate all of you. God bless you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care.